When you think media, you think ESPN,
Yeah,
ABC,
right.
Disney, billion-dollar corporations that have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees. But that's not what it is.
It's not what it is anymore. It's getting smaller and more niche. That's what social media is so cool, is like there's a little piece of the pie for everybody.
Yep. Digital Hospitality. I'm your host, Shawn Walchef. This is a Cali BBQ Media production. We are at Cater Source in Fort Lauderdale with my man, Duce Raymond, Sweet Baby Rays. I just explained to him that this show, Digital Hospitality, actually started many moons ago, back in 2017, as Behind the Smoke. So we have amazing listeners and fans that have been listening to us since then, watching us. We appreciate you. Thank you. If you're new to the show, I met with Deuce in 2017. Derek and I, my co-host, Behind the Smoke, we interviewed you and Dave.
That's right.
It was our first conference that we actually went out of the butcher shop to Fort Worth, Texas.
Yes.
And we were there to present how to turn your barbecue business into a media company.
In 2017.
In 2017. Bold moves, bold things. That was the conversation. I remember talking to you then, talking to Dave, having you guys on, hearing the Sweet Baby Rays catering and the sauce story.
Yep.
But more importantly, what I want to talk to you today is what's happened since then.
Oh, wow.
Because you've been on Restaurant Influencers. That's the show that we do on Entrepreneur. We'll put a link to that episode, which we did actually in Chicago, which was really cool.
Yep.
On location. Today, we're going to go deep into the belief in technology, what you've done with Barbecue Like a Boss, meeting with the Sasha Group, meeting with, who else did you, Rory?
Yeah, Brand Builders, Rory Vaden. Yep.
So let's get back. Let's start with Sasha.
We're all
Group.
in.
Let's go back to Fort Worth.
How about 2016 when we first talked on the phone?
2016. Okay, what happened? Tell the story.
I was grocery shopping at Aldi. I remember vividly.
Aldi?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And Dave had told me he ran into you at the previous year's NBBQA out in San Diego. And he's like, I think you and Shawn would really connect. So I got your number and I called you out of the blue.
I couldn't believe you called me. I was like, it's Deuce. What's
up?
And
I was literally had the grocery cart walking around all day talking to you, and we just connected right away.
We talked for like 45 minutes.
I know.
Yeah.
And never met before, and talked about marketing and Gary Vaynerchuk
and business
and barbecue
and storytelling.
And you asked me if I was going to come to the conference the next year, and I said, yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
And that's when we met for the first time.
We met there the first time. What did you think when I told you could be your own media company?
Well, I thought it was crazy, but it wasn't totally foreign to me because I had started digesting some content from Gary Vaynerchuk and other marketing mindset people. So I was interested more than anything. I didn't even know what a podcast was.
Malcolm Reed didn't know what a podcast was.
Right.
Malcolm he literally hadn't started his podcast.
No.
He was just a YouTuber with 500,000 YouTube subscribers.
Way before your time, especially in the barbecue space.
In the barbecue space, for sure.
But I was intrigued by it. I really was. Something about it connected with me right away. And the more I thought about it, it was like just dipping our toe. And then it didn't take until like the pandemic when I really went all in like 2020. And I hired Matt and we started the show. We spent money and got some guidance from Sasha Group, which is Gary V's small business arm. And really, it hasn't been the same since. I spend more time on the marketing and business development side of our business than on the culinary side in the last 4 years. And it's been a game changer for me and for our business.
Bring me into the Sasha Group. What did they do for you? How did they, talk to you? How did it help?
I mean, it just really kind of personalize the message that you hear online. Is you have to start putting content out. These are the steps that you should take. And they personalized it for us. They gave us some ideas for the show. They kind of laid out the whole platform, what platforms to use, when to post. And I sent you the playbook.
I know, it's amazing.
Here's your $25,000 playbook. I just sent it to you.
It was amazing.
But it's really, I think it comes down to having the confidence and the belief that it's going to work.
Yeah.
Because anything you put your time and your focus in is going to get you somewhere.
Yes.
But if you're not confident about it and you're just, post here or post there or do it haphazardly, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
It takes time.
What I love about the playbook and Sasha Group, and then more specifically, because they consult with hundreds and thousands of
huge companies,
of big companies, obviously VaynerX, but the Sasha Group specifically, and they give out this advice, but people don't execute on the advice.
That's right.
They take the consulting and they're like, this sounds good, but you guys took what they said and you actually created Barbecue Like a Boss.
That's right.
You created a show. My hat, for those that are listening on audio, it says be the show, not the commercial.
And that was their main piece of advice, is you need to start a show
Yes.
and post consistently.
A show or a series, call it whatever you want,
Right.
but it's about consistent long form production that can actually go into short form production.
The very first episode of Barbecue Like a Boss was me holding the iPhone,
Yes.
selfie video style, explaining the difference between baby back ribs and St. Louis
Yeah.
ribs. And that was the very first video. And we evolved over time, but by video, I think 3 or 4, we had some traction. That was like earlier days of TikTok when
Yep.
you could still like go viral kind of easily.
You started at 0. Give high level. Where are we now? We have over 700,000. Is that
so
that's what I've been
700
saying?
over 750,000 followers across all platforms:
social.
YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and then that's with my personal
Yep.
socials in there too.
Of course.
Yeah.
Break down the difference between personal social and brand social.
So what we have found, and this was through, more content online and just really understanding what type of content that we make, what connects with people. And this isn't an ego thing. It's the content with me in there
Yep.
giving educational advice. And we have a bunch of weird brand situations going on because of Sweet Baby Ray's, Deuce's Wild, True Cuisine, and everything. We wanted to come up with a strategy that is focused around one thing that
Yep.
can distribute around to many, and that's the personal brand. So the
Yep.
Duce Raymond personal brand is what we're starting to focus on. We started with the Sweet Baby Ray's Catering brand,
Yep.
and that's what we grew the most in the beginning. And now, just like this year, we're starting more to focus on the Duce Raymond personal brand. And that can touch everything we're involved in, whether it's Deuce's Wild, Sweet Baby Ray's Catering, True Cuisine. It can work on any of those platforms.
Do you remember the phone call that you had with Gary Vee?
Yeah. So,
Because I remember it. I actually took the phone call and my video team edited it down for a short to repurpose for you. But share the story.
So it was great. So with the Sasha Group deal, we were part of the 4Ds.
Yep.
And if you know anything about Gary's content, he gets a group of business people together and he holds kind of like a day-long conference
Yep.
with them. And you're supposed to get like 15 minutes with Gary Vee.
Yeah.
But when it came to my time, it was typical Gary Vee style. He was like in the car on the way to his next thing. He had like one AirPod in. And so I had like 5 minutes with Gary Vee. But it's something that I struggled with for a long time was like, how do we market Sweet Baby Ray's, True Cuisine, Deuce's Wild? And it's so funny because he broke it down in 1 minute.
Yeah.
And I was explaining the whole story of the sauce and the catering businesses and Deuce's Wild. And I'm like, Gary, I've been working on this for a long time. I know you can help me. And I explained everything. And he's like, yep, Deuce, I got it. and then so he went into saying, he's like, you have different brands for different reasons. So you need to market Sweet Baby Ray's to the Sweet Baby Ray's customers,
Yep.
and True Cuisine to the True Cuisine customers. Yep. And it just clicked right away. And that's where we haven't looked back since. So we have a Sweet Baby Ray's social strategy.
Yep.
We have a True Cuisine social strategy. And now we're starting to blur the lines a little bit with Duce Raymond being able to talk about multiple things. I mean, I don't relate myself to this person, but it's an easy way to kind of explain the personal brand
Yep.
situation. We talk about like The Rock.
Yep.
So he's involved with tequila, Papatui, Under Armour, wrestling.
Yep.
So he's got all those outlets that he needs to talk about, but he's able to just post under his personal, The Rock,
Correct.
about whatever he's talking about. So that's kind of the way we're starting to look at more of the marketing and gearing it towards Duce Raymond. So I can talk about sauces and rubs if
Yep.
it's Deuce's Wild, or high-end catering if it's True Cuisine or something like that. So we're working on it, But we were lucky because we were able to build up the Sweet Baby Ray social handle so much that just with collaboration posts, I was able to grow my personal page to over 60,000 followers in like 6 months. It went fast.
When did you believe that you were a media company?
I still have a hard time admitting we're a media company.
Why?
I don't know. It just sounds like crazy to say that a barbecue.
Does it sound like you're an asshole?
I don't know. It doesn't.
I know an asshole that's been saying it for like 7 years.
No, it doesn't sound like you're an asshole. It just sounds like
it's pompous, I guess.
I don't know if it's pompous.
I think it's changing because when you think media, you think ESPN, ABC, Disney. Like
that's it.
We think of major conglomerates, billion-dollar corporations that have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees.
Right.
But that's not what it is.
It's not what it is anymore, for sure. And it's getting smaller and more niche.
Yep.
That's what social media is so cool is like, there's a little piece of the pie for everybody.
Yep.
Whether you're talking about how to make the perfect cocktail or how to fold a napkin or how to make the best brisket, there's an audience for everything.
Isn't that like literally you could start a folding napkin channel.
Yes.
And I guarantee you could grow a big folding napkin channel.
And people will be like, this is amazing.
Like literally just
I've been waiting for this content.
Like watch 100 people fold napkins.
Yeah.
You're like, 1,000 people for a catering event. Like watch them fold napkins.
Yep. No,
like, look at how they fold napkins all in different parts of the world.
People watch it just because they're like mesmerized.
by it.
Satisfying.
Yeah. What advice would you have to people? We're going to give a talk later today.
Yeah.
Be the show, not the commercial, social storytelling. What advice for somebody that's just starting out knowing that they need to get better, quote unquote, at social media?
You need to start doing it. And
doing it.
Yes. Like I said before, the first video that we made for the show Barbecue Like a Bus was a selfie-style iPhone. And I was shaky and it looked like crap and it didn't do anything. But you have to start putting in the reps so you understand what works and what doesn't work. And as you develop the audience, the people that are interested in what you're talking about, you'll have more content and more of a direction to go with. But you have to start with something that you're comfortable talking a lot about because you have to have content going up. So it's start and then be consistent. Those are the first two things you need to do.
When did you start your podcast?
I started the podcast last year.
When did I tell you to start your podcast?
Probably 2017. I don't know.
Probably.
Yes. So we did episode 1. We did 30 episodes. We interviewed some great people. And
this was last year you started?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did 30 episodes. We're starting as soon as I get back to Chicago. We have a whole bunch of. I have an assistant now. Did I tell you that?
No, you didn't. That's great.
Oliver.
Is it ChatGPT?
Yeah. Well, that's one of them.
My assistant.
Yeah. So Oliver's been helping me schedule the second season of the podcast, and we're all the way through
Why are we doing
May.
a season, and why are we not doing 52 episodes?
We needed a break. My editing team needed a break, not me. I don't know.
We're not batching content?
I know. We need to. We're still working on it. You know, that's why.
So are we doing more than 30 episodes? Or are we doing 30 episodes again this year?
I don't know. We're going to do more this year because
like
we're starting
52?
Yeah, we'll work on 52. That's a good
52.
That's
one
a good
week.
goal.
It's a show.
Yes.
The show must go on.
The show must go on.
If there's a week, there needs to be a show.
Okay. See, Big Brother's still giving me advice.
You're lucky I'm not telling you to do 2 shows.
Oh no.
2 shows.
I heard you
podcast.
say that to Eric.
No, I said it to
Sebastian.
I told Sebastian, if you want the real secret, that's anybody that's listening, the real growth for us, we did 1 show, which was Behind the Smoke until it became Digital Hospitality for 5 years. And it wasn't until we launched a second show that if I could go back and do it again, it was how do you get to do more?
Yes.
Like it's literally the hardest thing to do.
Well, we have 2 shows on TikTok now. Did I tell you that?
Counts.
Yeah.
That counts. So all you need is an RSS feed, and you can have
So
barbecue.
we run
Barbecue Like a Boss literally is a podcast.
And it's become a Backyard Boss is the new show where I do it at my house, so it's more personal, more using
it's
the
an audio.
equipment.
You're already using video. That's a show. You technically have 3 podcasts.
That's right.
See that? We just had a breakthrough. We just had a breakthrough.
Now I can relax.
Let's talk about catering.
Okay.
You guys do significant catering. Can you share some numbers?
Sure.
What do you do?
So when we ended 2019, we finished at 4.6 million. We're going to finish this year at over 9 million in catering sales.
Awesome. Congratulations.
So we've doubled since the pandemic, and we did 350 weddings last year.
Wow.
And half of those weddings had some barbecue component to them.
Wow.
So barbecue is alive and well in the wedding space.
That's great.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yep.
What advice do you have for restaurant-specific people that want to build their catering business?
Wow, that's a good question. I would say be realistic and understand what type of catering you want to do.
How do you do sales, catering sales?
Catering sales is tough. We definitely use our online channels, but the catering sales
relationships
is definitely relationship based, and you have to go and knock on some doors.
You don't get on the list. You're not part of the conversation.
Right. Well, catering, there's two types. There's corporate wedding and social. So those three types. But the corporate sales are hard. Those are totally relationship based. You have to prove yourself to these people. Who's ever ordering the catering, their butt's on the line to make sure you do a good job and you're providing the food and service and quality that you say you're going to. And if you make them look bad, you're never back in. If you make them look like a rock star, you're
always back in.
You're always back in. For wedding sales, it's all, in my experience, venue based. You have to take care of the venues that you're catering at, so they recommend you. If you're going to get a wedding, you go to the venue first, and then the venue refers the caterer, the florist, the DJ, all that stuff. So you have to be in with the venue people, the owners, the managers. If you make their life easier when you're at a catering event, then they're going to refer business to you. And that's been key for us. And we started really digging into that in 2018, 2019, and we haven't let off the gas. And that's where most of our wedding leads come from, is venue referrals.
Venue referrals. Interesting. What have you learned by sharing at shows like this? How long have you been doing Cater Source?
So Cater Source...
You've been telling me about Cater Source probably as long as I've known you.
Yeah, probably. We started coming in 2012. When we first started in catering, when we came to Cater Source, I'm not kidding, it changed the way we approached a lot of different things. Wow. How do we charge people? How do we staff the events? What type of presentations we do? The type of stations that we do at these events. Cater Source was huge in kind of turning our catering business into like a profitable catering business that makes sense for us. Mm-hmm. So it helped us a lot over the years. Now, in the last 3 years, they've been asking me to come and present, and it's a huge honor. You know, I think the first time I presented was 2017 or 2018, and then I was here last year and here again this year, and it makes you better at what you do, because you're just explaining, like, we're giving a whole presentation an hour long on why it's important to be the show, not the commercial. And all that is really doing for me is like revitalizing my motivation to keep on going and keep posting my belief and everything. Plus, I feel so good about helping other people. You know, there's so many questions about what I should do on social media. Does it really work? How am I going to see the ROI?
Let's talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
What is the ROI of social media?
The ROI of social media.
Return on investment.
First of all, it doesn't happen in 3 posts or 3 months or 3 years.
If I make one video, it's not going to work?
It doesn't work that way.
Come on.
No, it takes years.
I'm going to get all kinds of business if I make one video, one viral video.
It doesn't work like that. And I was thinking about it this morning, especially for caterers, a lot of caterers that are here at this event. They need to understand that there's a ton of social proof in social media, meaning that if their Instagram page has 147 followers and 3 likes on their last video, when a bride goes to that Instagram page, they're going to be like, these people don't know what's going on. They're not cool. They don't know. And on the other hand, if you come to our Instagram page and there's millions of views on the videos and there's 130,000 followers, like, that's social proof. They'll be like, these guys know what's up. We're going to want to be excited to use them. And so that takes years, and that's not an ROI on I posted a video and I'm getting a piece of business. It doesn't. We're not
thousands of videos.
We're not drop shippers. We're not paying for ads. This is about building a presence online and making yourself having that social proof. That's the best way I can explain it.
What advice do you have for dads?
For dads? Well, dads that want to
that are in the restaurant business, catering business.
Build your team so you don't have to do everything in your business.
How long did it take for you to learn that?
Forever. I'm still learning it. But this, starting last year, after we hired the director of operations and we have a really solid executive chef, I don't have to go to every event.
Yeah.
I can spend time with my family and manage the business and actually manage the business and not work in the kitchen or work a single event and help grow the team. My life has changed in the last 3 years because I've kind of taken myself out of the day-to-day, and it's very hard to do.
Yep.
You want control over everything, but you're never going to be able to grow until you release some of that control. Yeah, are we going to make a little bit less money because we're paying a director of operations and exec? Yes, we are, but it's worth it because I have a life outside of my business, and I'm able to go see the recitals and the basketball games and take some extra time with my wife. So that's invaluable, and it takes a lot to be able to relink. Is it going to be the same? Are the guys in the kitchen putting as much time and attention on every single piece of meat or side dish that I do when I'm there? Probably not, but I'm okay with that because the quality of my life is better today because I was able to release some of that control.
It's amazing. If you guys are watching this, we want you to be a part of the show. We do a show called Rising Tides Live every Wednesday, every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Go to betheshow.media/rising tides, and you can be a guest on our show. You can meet our digital hospitality community. We have people from all over the globe that participate. We're grateful for you. What's the best place for people to reach out to you? Which platform?
Duce Raymond on Instagram.
At Duce Raymond.
At Duce Raymond on Instagram, and then we can go from there.
Yep. You guys want to reach out to me? It's at Shawn P. Walchef on Instagram, on LinkedIn. I'm weirdly available. We appreciate you for watching. Please go subscribe to Cali BBQ Media's YouTube channel. We are doing a lot of work on YouTube. Shout out to Cam. Shout out to Gavin, Stover, Mike, our entire team, and Aaron, and my friend Andrew, and Michonne for being here at Cater Source, Fort Lauderdale. We've got lots of content. Go to our YouTube page to see all the content. You can actually see our presentation. Why?
Because it's live.
Because it's live. We have a live presentation. We are going to film it, and it's all for you guys. We appreciate you. Thank you for being part of our community. Appreciate you, brother. Boom.